What is up, YouTube? I think we're recording. I think everything is up and live. It takes me a minute. So I record my stuff in my closet. So when I do these videos, they're not. It takes me a minute. It takes me a while to set up. This little fake studio, which I will once I get it done, I will be glad to go over everything. But it takes me a while because I want to get the lighting good. I kind of want. Well, I got a mess going on over here, but we'll worry about that later. That's fine. It's we're already recording. It's too late. It's too late. I wanted to talk about some channel updates. What I got going on is I put this sound deadening foam in here. I don't know if you can make it out, but I put it around here. It's seems to be helping. I don't know, you tell me. I think every video is starting to gradually get a little bit better, and that's what I'm excited about. This week I actually was going to put a video out earlier about my updates on what I got going on with my channel. And here, might as well actually, I don't have it in here, but I don't have it, but it's in the room. Oh well, whatever. Anyways, I got a drone, and I was super pumped about it. I got a DJI Mavic Pro, and I would say for 3 or 4 days, I was super excited about it until I started setting it up. And looks like the drone, it's an older model, obviously, and my channel isn't dependent on that, but it was something I was going to use to elevate my video, be able to do more B-roll shots and stuff like that. And I was really excited. I was doing a lot of research about getting a drone. I'm probably going to still have to end up buying the original one I was researching, which is the DJI Mini. I'm looking at the Mini 3. That's the one I'm thinking about getting, because the price point is for $200 I can get a drone that kind of does some follow me stuff, but the video is not great. For just under $300 I can get another drone that does pretty good video and a lot more stable, but it's limited to 2.7K. Then there's the next step up, which is the Mini 4K, which I think is basically what was the Mini 2 before, which is still a good drone. And I think the Mini 3, then you got the Mini 4, then you got the Mini 3 Pro, you got the Mini 4 Pro, and then you start going up into the Mavic Air line and the Mavic Pros. And for the money, I want to say it's probably around $500+ to get the Mini 3. I'll probably get the best. That's probably the best compromise as far as money, and then what you're spending, and then your returns on what you're spending. So for what I need it for, probably that's going to be the best way to go. However, my Mavic Pro that I got, it's done. It's out of commission. The gimbal's all fucked up on it, and I don't think that there's going to be any fixing that. So that's done. It was a short dream. However, I did get this out of that deal. I did get this pretty cool gimbal. This thing works pretty good for the phone. I might be able to get some use out of this. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet, but it does work. It works pretty good. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. On to what I wanted to talk about today was, hold on, go to my notes, my handy dandy notes. This was going to be a response to, so I did a video about 3 months ago about buying a budget AR-15, and I was saying that I think it's a good idea for you to do it, for anybody to do it, if that's what you're, if that is what is in your budget, to buy it. And since then, I've seen some videos come up. One specific one that caught my eye was 110 SASS Actual. That's a big time YouTuber. He's good. He's got some pretty cool stuff. But he did like a budget gun comparison. He took like a 5 or 6 entry level. They're all probably around $400 AR-15s. But he had the PSA in there. He had the Radical Firearms. He had Anderson Manufacturing. There might have been a couple more. I can't really remember. But in his video, he was not, I don't know, so I don't know if he was like not shooting good or what, but basically by the end of it, he was basically just shitting on all the rifles. Like, hey, these are all pieces of shit. They're garbage. The results I got are trash and this and that. And I believe him when he says that. It made me start questioning, like, shit, man, I don't want to like give people bad advice. Sorry, hit my mic. I don't want to be giving people bad advice on these rifles. So I started going down deeper into this rabbit hole. My methodology was always kind of buy what you can buy, because we live in weird times right now. Even though Trump is in office and things seem to be kind of steering in the right direction, you just never know, right? And things have gotten pretty crazy, and a lot of people are predicting it's going to get even crazier. So I don't know, I hope for the best, or wait, I expect the worst, but hope for the best. That's kind of like the model that I've always followed. Expect the worst, hope for the best. And like, I'm thinking, well, I just made a video like telling people they should, I don't know who watched it. I think 3 people watched it. So all 3 of you, I'm sorry if I give you bad information. But, I start going down this rabbit hole, and then I start like getting some numbers, and I start getting some data, and I'm starting to think, well, his shooting wasn't terrible. I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm not really sure. I'm not, I wasn't there, so I don't know. But his results were like between 2 and 4 MOA, which, by the way, that's military standard. That's, according to the military, 2 to 4 MOA is pretty good. And if you don't know what MOA is, I can explain it to you. Basically, at 100 yards, if you're shooting inside a 1 square inch, that's 1 MOA. If you're grouping, if you shoot like a grouping of 3, 5, 10, whatever whatever is, 3 is good, 5 is a better gauge, 10 is a way better gauge, because the more rounds you can put into to test your grouping, you're going to get a more accurate number. But that aside, if you keep up all of those rounds within like a 1 inch grouping, that's a 1 MOA. And a 2 inch would be something like that. That's like a 2 inch MOA at 100 yards. And that's still pretty freaking good. If I'm hitting this at 100 yards, I'm pretty good. Now, 3 inch, 4 inch, 5 inch, and beyond. Like, that's kind of, and like literally like a military standard is, you like what, 2 inch to 4 inch groupings is pretty good. So I don't know, that's an argument to, that's an argument you have with yourself, what you want to accept. Now I started like looking up, what the average MOA for our AR-15 is. Our average AR-15 is like 1.5 to 2.5 MOA, right? So it seems like we're still, even in the budget rifles, within your average, right? Okay. And more, I got, let's see, I'm a little bit messy here. I start thinking, okay, well, maybe, I think maybe this guy is just a little bit on the high end. This guy's, his name of his channel is M110 actual ASSASS. That's, if you know anything about that rifle, the M1 the M110 is Knight's Armament, uh, like a designated marksman rifle, and it's considered a super high end rifle. Those things go from, the prices I've seen are like between like 5,000 up to like $20,000, and maybe more. Just depends. They're more of a collector's item at this point because I don't believe they're in production anymore. So if you get your hands on one, keep it. It's probably just going to keep going up in value. Um, you know, but that leads me to my next point is uh, the law of diminishing returns. I think a lot of times what people will do is they get into this mode of, I'm super invested in this, so by any means, I'm going to make this the right answer, right? It's like when you make a choice on a phone you're going to buy, right? You decide on a phone and you go and you invest your hard-earned money on this phone, and then newer better stuff comes out, but you're invested in this phone and you're just like, you know what, this is the right one. I don't care what everybody else says. I'm super invested in this. This is the best one. Yada yada. It's like whatever you have invested in, usually that's going to be where your where your brain is going to kind of like want to be. You want to be. I'm not making any sense, but what I'm trying to say is that people get locked into this idea of, because I bought this is the best one. I want this to be the best one, and you start going down the rabbit hole of justifying why you have it, or trying to prove that yours is better than whatever else other people have is. And that's like real common in like people that are like real hobbyists, or people that are really into a certain type of uh, hobby or sport. And I find myself kind of losing the point I'm even trying to make. But I think that, sometimes when you get people making videos like that where they just shit on those type of rifles, it's like, hey man, I spent $15,000 on this rifle, and this guy's spent $600 on this rifle, and he's getting near similar results than what I'm getting with my super high end rifle. People don't like that. It's kind of a hit to your pride. But I'm just stating all this data kind of so you can make up your own mind, you know. I can just give you my opinion, and I have some numbers. The average AR-15 MOA 1 to 3, okay? That's your average. Your average for a PSA, all right, is between 1.5 to 4-ish, which is still in a spec, still in a mill spec, right? With the right barrel, with the right upgrades, with the right uh, accurizing, you can achieve 1 MOA groupings with even a PSA. And that kind of goes to my next topic for that. Is the way I look at rifles is almost the way I look at everything else. Is you buy what you can afford. You buy the best possible version of what you can afford. And when you grow out of that, you can upgrade it. You can upgrade, like AR-15s especially are like Honda Civics of the rifle world. You can upgrade everything from the buttstock all the way to the tip, the flash hider. Everything can be upgraded, from your bolt carrier group, your barrel, your rail system. your optics, your everything, your grip, everything. Every single piece of it can be upgraded. Should you buy a budget rifle and upgrade everything? People probably look at you a little funny, like, why? But yes, you can. Let's see. I actually, I actually had a friend who bought a pretty high-end rifle, and this was pretty recent, and he was having failures. So, and that brings me to the next topic of the 110 SAS's video, is that he was having some failures on the rifles. Almost all the rifles had some sort of failure at some point. And my opinion on that was that a lot of them were due to magazines, some of it was due to ammunition, some of it may have been user error. I don't know. I'd probably watch that video yourself to see, make your own opinion on it. But that goes to my point of, don't just buy a rifle and assume it's going to work out of the box. Even your most high-end rifles, which is what I was about to say. I got a buddy who bought a Knight's Armament rifle, and literally first day we went out shooting, he was having failure to fire. He was having problems where he was getting bolt over the brass. So he just wasn't ejecting the last round out, and it was putting the brass over it was putting the bolt over the brass. Actually, no, it was ejecting the brass out, but it wasn't loading the next one in fully, so we were getting the bolt into it. We were having that problem with it's like probably about a $5,000 rifle. I was shooting my PSA Saber with zero flaws at all that day. The only flaw we had was we ended up discovering that we had a magazine issue. One of the magazines was bad. That was failing in both of our rifles. So with that, whether you spend 10,000 on a rifle or you spend 300 on a rifle, shoot it. Go out and shoot it. Learn the rifle. Learn like how it responds, how it acts. Learn like what might create a failure in the rifle. It can be, and more often than not, it is ammunition or magazine related. More often than not, especially in newer rifles. But you could have a bad bolt carrier group. You could have a buffer spring that's not good enough. It could be a number of things. Your gas may not be set right. If you're running suppressed or non-suppressed, or who knows, it could be a number of little problems. But that's why you got to get out and you got to shoot and you got to test your rifle out. That's bottom line. That's mostly what it comes down to. No matter what you do, get out, shoot the rifle, put hundreds and hundreds, thousands of rounds through it, get familiar with it. I think somebody was saying that you can't even really say a gun's broken in until you have, like, say 1,000 rounds through it, and so you know that firearm. You're gonna learn its weak points and its strong points and how to manipulate it, how to operate it, till after about 1,000 rounds. Let's see. So after I was done, I'm never done, but after I was kind of content, another video popped up on my YouTube, and it was from another YouTube channel called 704 Tactical. Now this one's going to be almost exactly opposite of what M110 SAS is saying, right? Like these are shit rifles, you wouldn't advise buying them. This guy did a complete torture test where he was throwing the rifle up in the air, he was banging it against things, and he even shot it with a shotgun, picked it up, and was able to still put fist-sized groupings, MOA groupings, into his target after, if you want to see that, it's his channel's 704 Tactical, and he does a torture test on specifically a PSA rifle. So basically, to wrap up, what I'm trying to say is I still stand by my original video. At first, I was really doubting it. I was like, dude, I don't want to give people bad information. I start questioning myself. So I start like going down these rabbit holes, watching YouTube videos, going out shooting myself. Um, and honestly, my conclusion, it's I still stand exactly where I was before. Yes, if what you can afford is a Palmetto State Armory or Anderson Arms or uh, Smith and Wesson or something. Radical Firearms is another good one. If that's all you can afford, get it. Get it and have it. And that way you don't it's just one less thing you have to worry about attaining if shit is to ever hit the fan. Um, you know, I have a PSA rifle myself and I go shooting it pretty regularly and I would say anywhere between 50 to 100 yards. It's really accurate. I have almost no issues with that rifle. And I would almost say that, like, if you were in a self defense situation, a real self defense situation, most of your engagements are probably going to be within, like, what, like 3 yards all the way up until like 100 yards. And that's probably where you can justify self defense. Once you start stretching out any further than that, you might have issues justifying self defense if you were in that situation. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but you know, if you have a rifle that's capable within those, I would say you're probably good with a PSA as it is, out to 300 easy. Um, I'm really not wrapping this video up very well, but I feel like I'm just cheerleading for PSA, which I'm not. I'm not. I think it's good enough for what it is. It's good enough for what it is. You should always achieve for better. You should always like a strive for better, not achieve. You should always strive for better. You know, try to improve the rifle, improve your skills, and keep growing. And eventually, maybe you end up with a Daniel Defense or a BCM or a Geisley or something along those lines, and you're not even thinking about this anymore. But if you are, that's still where I stand. That's gonna be it for now. All right.